You don't want to put all your phone calls in if you have credit cards in there, and then somebody hacks it, and then are you liable? So just being really careful that you're doing your research and knowing what information you should put in there and what information you shouldn't is very important.
Yeah. Welcome to Jobbers Masters of Home Service, a podcast for home service pros by home service pros. We are in sunny Las Vegas, and today we're talking about balancing AI in your business, balancing tech and the human touch. I'm your host, Adam Sylvester. Today's guest is Michelle Jeppesen. Michelle, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm so excited to geek out with you today. Talk tech.
Let's geek.
Yes.
Geek. So first, let's tell our listeners who you are, what you do, and all that kind of stuff.
Sure. Yeah. So I'm Michelle with Jill's office. We are a virtual receptionist for this home service industry. So we talk on the phone all day to turn those callers into dollars.
Great. Okay. So let's talk about AI, and let's just talk about how we can integrate it into our businesses, the good, the bad, the ugly. So first of all, what are some of the misconceptions? Because AI is still very new to most people. What are some of the common misconceptions you see?
Sure. So, okay. Well, first of all, with AI, I don't know about you, Adam, but I feel like, a couple of years ago, all of a sudden we jumped into this episode of Jeppesen, right? Where we're all of a sudden living in the future. I mean, self-driving cars, robots that can do our work. I mean, come on, is this our reality? And it is.
It happens so fast.
It happens so fast. And because I think in part because it happens so fast, there are a lot of misperceptions with it. And they're kind of on opposite ends of the table. I think there's two main misperceptions. The first one's around fear, and then the second one's around actually excitement. So let's talk about the fear one first. There's a lot of fear that AI is going to take over jobs, and we're going to be put in this kind of WALL-E, that Disney movie WALL-E type thing where we're all just couch potatoes and machines are doing all our work, right? And so, with that fear, we're trying to figure out what's the future of, my business. This isn't the first time, though, that we've been through something like this. I mean, let's talk about self-driving cars for a minute. The actual first self-driving car was invented in the 1900s, okay? But the difference is instead of it going vertically, it went, or horizontally, it went vertically, okay? So it was the elevator. It was essentially a self-driving car. It started when the elevator was first invented in the 1850s, it was actually had to be operated by, an elevator engineer. It couldn't run on its own. But in the 1900s, they introduced one that could run on its own, and there was tons of fear around it. People were worried about losing their jobs, so the elevator operators actually went on strike. New York City just shut down for 2 weeks because people couldn't get to their offices because they couldn't no one was running the elevators. So there was tons of fear about it. They were worried about losing their jobs. And then there was also that fear of, is it safe? What does this mean? But it took about, 50 years and a generation, and they adapted. And then now it's just called an elevator, not a self-driving elevator. And I think it's going to be a similar thing with the car. There's a lot of fears. Is this going to get rid of all the Uber drivers and the taxi drivers and bus drivers, and what's it going to do for all these jobs and displace these jobs? But when you look at what happens in society is when new technology is created, there's also new jobs created. MIT did a study and found out that 6 out of 10 jobs didn't exist in the 1940s that exist today. So we're going to find that same thing, that just new jobs are going to be created that just don't exist right now. And it's almost like another industrial revolution where instead of us moving from agriculture to manufacturing, we're moving from very manual, repetitive tasks to higher level tasks that require more, technical knowledge and more higher knowledge. And so it's actually a really exciting time to be alive because it's just a time of growth and opportunity. It's not something to fear. It's something to embrace. Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon, he often gets asked, what's going to change in the next 10 years? And he said, you're asking the wrong question. That is not the question. The question is, what is going to stay the same in 10 years? And I'll tell you right now, there's 2 things that are going to stay the same, he says. That customers want things fast and they want things at affordable prices. And he said, as long as I focus on that and use technology in that regard, then, we're not going to have a problem. And the same thing applies in the home service industry, that as long as you're focusing on what isn't going to change in the next 10 years, where customers want high quality workmanship and they want to know they're working with people who they can trust because you're coming into their home. If you focus on those things and use technology to advance those objectives, then it's going to help your business, not put you out of business. So get over the fear of it, because it's you got to jump on. Don't be Blockbuster and be afraid of the technology and, crash and
Blockbuster
burn.
who?
Yeah, exactly. So that's the first part. And then the second misconception is people that almost are over anxious to have it completely replace so many parts of their business that they shouldn't.
Yeah.
And the problem with that is we as humans are emotional creatures by nature. We like to think we're more logical and that we just feel, but really we're feeling creatures who think. And so we make decisions of who we're going to do business with based primarily off emotion, and then we justify it with logic. So the question is if you let AI completely take over your communications and your human touch with your customers, what kind of impact is that going to have on their buying decision to do business with your company? Because the emotional connection isn't there as much. So I think the key there, again, is to have a hybrid approach where you're using technology to an AI to help your business, but not to completely take over your business.
Yeah, that's a great intro. Awesome. Okay, so Michelle, for our listeners who are running home service businesses, we've got lawn care and pest control and plumbers and HVAC and landscapers and home cleaning services and exterior washing and pressure washing. All these different people out there are wondering, what's an appropriate way for me to use AI for the better? They don't want to use it to destruct their business. They want to use it to build their business. How can they do that? What are some ways?
Okay, so I'm from Utah. So I'm a huge Utah Jazz fan. And the way I think of using AI in your business most effectively is the Stockton and Malone combo, okay? So AI is your Stockton, he's the assist. But then you and your team are the Malone, and you're the ones that are going to score the shot, okay? So if you use AI in your business to assist you to get more customers and to help you more productive in your business, then you have that magic duo. So what does that actually look like? ChatGPT, the amazing power that can have to help you come up with the marketing ideas on emails to send out to your customers. We were helping our client with a chips and salsa day campaign for his customers. It was phenomenally successful, and he was trying to come up with ideas on an outbound call script to tell his clients about this, amazing business. So he ChatGPT'd it to come up with, a cool offer, a cool deal, and then we called out to his customers to let them know. And so ChatGPT could help assist in coming up with that idea, but then you have the live human who's actually making those calls and taking care of that. Another great tool is Midjourney, with their image creation. One of our outdoor landscaping clients, he was trying to come up with ideas for a client on a kind of deck for their yard, took a picture of the backyard, and then with Midjourney was able to figure out different designs of decks and give the customer ideas on, hey, here's what we could do for you. So there's a lot of ways you can use it to, assist in helping to grow your business in home services, but not necessarily take over all the pieces.
Yeah. One thing I'm thinking of is, I'm a big Zapier fan and all the automations. And so our listeners can use Zapier, which is basically free for the most part, to create all kinds of automations and AI intricacies. One I'm thinking of is making linking your CRM, most probably Jobber, to your Gmail and to MailChimp and whatever other apps you use on a daily basis, so they all talk to each other.
Right.
That's a great way to use AI, so that you eliminate daily repetitive tasks that you're doing or your people are doing, but they're still getting done.
Right.
In fact, and they're getting done in some ways better because there's no human error.
Right. And it's immediate. Responding to Google reviews. I love that you can do that through Zapier.
I love that too.
It's absolutely incredible. This is where you have to be a little careful too. ChatGPT and AI is known to hallucinate at times. I'm sure you've heard of, the chat that sold a Chevy Tahoe for $1. And that was oops. And there was another time where they were suing a Canadian Air company because the chat said the wrong return policy to a customer, and so he decided to sue the company. So you definitely have to be careful in watching it so that it doesn't do this hallucinations. Where I saw this is with one of our cleaning clients. They had set up that Zapier connection where it was responding to Google reviews, and there was a negative review, and the chat offered free home cleaning, and they don't do that. And so the way you just set guardrails in place. So for her, what we did is any reviews that were 3 stars or under, she didn't let AI take care of. But the ones that are positive, let it take care of it.
Yeah. One of my buddies are plumbers, and they're really good at this kind of stuff. Their idea, which I've actually used myself, was usually when you get a client gets a quote, it just says a couple lines, includes labor and materials. But it's not very descriptive because you don't have time.
Right.
But he's come up with a perfect prompt. Took him a little while to get the prompt just right. But basically, he'll go in and he'll copy and paste his prompt into ChatGPT. And then the variable. And so tell me everything I need for installing a hot water heater.
Love it.
And so what it gives him is this long, detailed, exhaustive list of every tool, every piece, every material, everything that needs to be done. So then his quote held up next to another quote, it's night and day. It's like, wow, this guy went in all this detail. I know exactly, now I know what I'm paying for. It's really cool. And it takes him very little time because he dialed in the prompt.
Sure.
So now he just puts the prompt in, adds the service, and he gets this very quick AI generated, very robust description of the service he's offering. And it really converts well because people just think, wow, it's so full and robust.
And you're so impressed by the company.
So impressed. Yeah,
right. It's a great assist.
Michelle, this is a great conversation. I'm going to pause it for a minute, talk about Jobber. So Jobber is developing AI as we speak, and it's a big project for them. One of my favorite things they've introduced into the software is anytime you're texting or typing in that, whether you're texting a client, emailing them, whether you're typing up a quote, whatever it is, there's always a little option in the corner to AI it. And what that means is it takes what you said and it rewords it into a perfectly cohesive, perfect grammar, punctuation, all that stuff. And so you can type really fast, have a lot of errors, and then you hit that button and you go, zzz, and now it's this beautiful message to your client. And it's so simple. And the technicians in the field love it because they don't have to labor over all the punctuation. They can just hit that button and make it cheerful or professional or brief or longer. It's awesome. So if you want that feature, go to jobber.com/podcast deal. New users can get an exclusive discount and choose a software that you know is developing more and more AI. What are some other ways, any other hacks for using AI?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the powers of AI is its ability to analyze data. So AI can analyze data on a grander scale than you could ever do manually and within a reasonable time frame. So Amazon Q has this new AI tool that's out where you can put all your Google Docs in it. You can put all of your Slack, if you use that for communication with your team, all of your emails, and it can analyze all of that. And then what you can have it do is draw conclusions on what was the most effective outbound email campaign? Where did I get the most responses? And it can give you suggestions on that. Or if you have your team set up to use it and they are not sure on how to answer this question for a certain customer, set up a way that through Amazon Q or maybe a custom GPT that they can get ideas on how to solve these different or answer these different questions. And it just can be so helpful in that way.
What are some practical apps or, we mentioned Zapier, anything else come to mind?
Yeah, I love using Opus. That's a great way to edit like video clips for your social media. That was a really great one. Hey Jen is another good one where it can imitate your voice. So if you want help, maybe creating some frequently asked questions for your website, you want some videos on there, you can create your voice. Then you can either have an audio version of that or I'm trying to remember the video. There's a video one that pairs really well with it. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but you can combine those together where you can literally create this avatar who's making these videos for you. And it just can save a lot of time. HireBus is a great tool. It's a tool that helps you get the right people in the right seats.
I heard about this recently. Yeah, okay, I've heard about this. Tell me more about this.
Okay, so a phenomenal tool. It's one question that it asks applicants, and then it assesses which position they will work best in your company. We actually use this internally ourselves, and it works really, really well in figuring out which role you work best in. Well, one of the things that they recently released as well is an AI tool that can call your applicants and do kind of a pre-screening interview. You don't have to call, it's the AI that does it. So it's just a lot of cool tools out there.
Wow, that sounds great. Okay, cool. If Masters of Home Service has been a game changer for you and your business, then we want to hear from you. Go leave us a review and tell us what you think. Help us build this community and level up together. What are some ways that you would advise our listeners not to use AI? Because we want to balance, right? The show is about balancing the human touch. Because as long as we are serving human beings,
right,
we're not giving logical customer service. We're giving emotional customer service. And so we are still serving customers and human beings. So how do we balance that? What are some negative ways that we could use AI like overboard? Any examples?
I think if you let it completely take over your communication, it can be helpful for, that initial grabbing, that speed to lead, need to respond. There's another great tool, Chirp. It's a text automation tool, but there's a way that you can use AI to respond to customers, according to what they're saying. So with that initial question, it's a great way for AI to kind of get in and get that customer starting to engage with your business. But what you don't want to happen is where they're stuck with AI. I don't know about you, but I get so frustrated when I go to a website.
Representative.
I have a question live. Yeah. So I'm either yelling it in the phone or trying to figure out the right button to push, or I'm typing it in all caps in the chat because I want someone that can actually answer my question. And so you want to be sure that, maybe use AI as a first defense, but have some backup to make sure they can get a live person. And again, also to help protect against that hallucination. Another important thing is with data privacy. You want to be careful with that. I was recently talking with Jonathan Heineen. He owns Lighthouse Legal Solutions, and one of his specialties is in how businesses can protect themselves using AI with like data privacy and things like that. And I was asking him for tips because our programmers are currently developing different things with AI to better help our customer service receptionists. And so, he said one thing to be really careful about is transparency. We're already seeing like in Europe and it's actually Utah already passed a law where some industries it's required to say you're using AI and in what way if people ask. We see this with Amazon too, where they're requiring their authors to say whether this book was generated through AI or was just assisted by AI. YouTube is starting to penalize companies that use AI to create videos and aren't transparent about it. And I think we're going to see that creep more and more and more into all the industries. So a good practice is to make sure that you are being transparent in when you're using AI, and then also making sure that the tools that you're using, their data privacy laws or rules and how they're using that data. You don't want to put all your phone calls in if you have credit cards in there, and then somebody hacks it, and then are you liable? So just being really careful that you're doing your research and knowing what information you should put in there and what information you shouldn't is very important.
Yeah. I think for most of our listeners, we're not really concerned about them using AI to like swing a hammer. That's not going to happen. And so for them, the risk is not overusing AI to like perform the service in our case, right? Because we're home service providers. I think what could happen is that they rely too much on automations, too much on automated reminders and follow-ups. And did you pay your invoice? But like sometimes you just need to pick up the phone and just call the person, ask them for their credit card.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so we're staying at this amazing Wynn 5-star hotel. So last night I called to get a wake-up call. I want to make sure I was up in time. And it was a live person that answered, super friendly, which I love. I want to talk to someone, make sure it's going to get done. And she asked, whether I wanted it to be a live call or if it was okay for an automated person to call me or automated machine. In that instance, it was a great question. And again, there's that transparency, right? Giving me a choice. And in that instance, I'm fine. Like automated is fine. But if I've got a leaking toilet or, I have a question about the design of, my sprinkler system or my landscaping, I don't want to talk to a robot. I want to talk to a real human. So I think it's knowing when you can use it to help handle your human contact with your, with your customers and when really that you should have a live person, flesh and blood.
Yeah. I'm going to ask you a question you may not know the answer to. That's okay. So can AI help you see problems coming down the road with clients, like preemptively addressing problems that might be coming up in your customer base?
Sure.
Any ideas for that?
Well, we're in the works of developing that right now. So we're actually developing AI to be able to put all your phone calls through. And so you can assess what objections have come up repeatedly on my calls or what services are people asking that I don't offer yet and giving suggestions. If you look at what's already happened, AI is new for the general public, but it's actually not new for big businesses. The director of product at Adobe was recently interviewed and said, we've been using this technology for over a decade. It's just we didn't know ethically how to release this to the general public. So you see with Amazon, they're making suggestions, when you go on there and shop of here's other things that you would like. It's AI, right? Netflix, suggested videos, it's all AI. And we love it as consumers. Yeah, tell me what I need to buy and tell me what I need to watch. We're going to see this develop more and more into the home service industry, where there's softwares out there that are developed that help give suggestions. Okay, let's scan your whole property and figure out which plants we should plant in this shady area. What plant would work well here? Let's assess your soil type and figure out and give suggestions on different things we need to do. AI to assess weather patterns, so roofers know when they're going to get a huge influx of roof inspections because there's a hailstorm, or gutter repair because of different storms. So I think AI, we're going to see more and more tools come out that are going to help us be more preventive and be able to better assess our customers' needs and be that much more powerful.
Yeah. And I also think that using AI to, you talked about this earlier, like analyze a spreadsheet or something, it can help you drill down and figure out maybe some of your services you're offering aren't profitable at all.
Oh, absolutely.
And some of them are way more profitable than you realize. And so that you can niche down and do it that way.
Yeah.
Any other tips for using AI in your business to like preemptive, any kind of issues coming forward? I love what you said about like listening to phone calls and hearing patterns and who your best CSRs are, who are your worst, like doing all that, things that human beings just can't really do on a broad scale.
Right. Sentiment analysis, that's another thing we're working on, just to listen to the tone of callers and see, when, and again, what things are people getting more upset about. I think those are all important. I love too how you're talking about AI is almost like you all of a sudden have this data analysis in your business. And so being able to make projections, hey, I want to hit this goal for my business this year in revenue. How many techs do I need to hire? How many more jobs do I need to book this year than last year to reach that goal? And that's where AI can really help you grow your business.
Yeah. Okay. I had an experience. I'm talking to the listener right now because I think that a lot of people are like, I have no idea what they're talking. When I really get down to it, I really don't know what they're talking about. I don't know where to upload these spreadsheets to. I don't know how to get the data that they're talking about. So I had an experience like that. A buddy of mine, smarter than me, he was like, "Yeah, you can use these tools and you upload your data. It sorts it all." And I did it. It just did not work whatsoever. It just didn't work. And I'm a pretty good computer guy, and I could not figure it out. And so, for our listeners, I think it's okay to say, hey, I need to find a tech savvy buddy of mine who can walk me through the beginnings of this, because we're making it sound so simple, like the AI is just a magician and to create all this amazing data just like that. It's not quite that easy. And so I think it's okay if you say, you know what, I do want to go down this road. I'm not a tech nerd, or like me, who's like one notch below tech nerd. Let me go find somebody who can help me walk through this. And then maybe I can do it myself after that. But I don't want our listeners thinking like they're complete bimbos if they don't know what we're talking about, because I walked into that same experience. And sometimes you need your hand held a little bit.
Right. Start small and start with just simple things that you can, ask ChatGPT for. Start with signing up for a GPT account. But I definitely get some help from others who have already set things up and they can easily set it up for you.
Yeah. Michelle, this is great. I'm trying to summarize our conversation in 3 actionable steps here. Number 1 is focus on what's not going to change over the next 10 years. And in that case, your clients still want to trust you. They still want to book fast with you. They want good quality and they want it at a good price. And so if you can focus on those, you'll be in good shape. Number 2 is use Zapier to create automations in your business that can eliminate human error and just human labor in the first place. And number 3, use ChatGPT to create really mind-blowing line item description. We're not going to just replace your hot water heater. We're going to do all of this stuff and play around with that and see what you come up with. Michelle, thanks for being here.
Thank you so much. I appreciate being here. And one other thing, just a final thought on it is, I think as AI grows, it's going to make us way more productive in our businesses the more we learn how to do it. But another part of it is it's going to make more and more that the human service is a premier service in your business, where the human touch is a premier service. And so making sure that no matter as much as you're using AI, to still remember that it's all about the connections with your customers, that gain them in the first place and then keep them coming back to you for more business.
I agree. We serve people.
Yes.
Let's remember that. How do people find out more about you?
Sure, yeah. So if you go to jillsoffice.com, you can learn more about Jill's Office, connect with me there, and get a free demo of our services.
I appreciate you being here, your insights. I really enjoyed some of the stories you tell. I did not know about the elevator story, so I appreciate you being here. Keep making a difference, keep teaching, keep growing your business. It makes a big difference.
Thanks so much, Adam.
And thank you for listening. I hope you heard something that will make your business more profitable and more efficient and help you with AI. I'm your host, Adam Sylvester. You can find me at adamsylvester.com. Your team and your clients deserve your very best, so go give it to them.